Artemis and Luna are like running a side hustle of branding and content creation for Sailor V. And like that's what they talk about in the arcade at night.
Have you considered that maybe that's why Luna wants to find the Moon Princess so much?
So that
just open up her branding options.
Yeah, so that they can make the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but like the Moon Cinematic Universe.
We're gonna make a Sailor expanded universe.
Welcome to Sailor Moon Therapy Hour. We are your hosts, Audrey.
And I'm Allison. And we are not therapists. We just watch anime.
Specifically Sailor Moon.
The original. Yes, the original dub of Sailor Moon and the more recent sub that should be more accurate to the original Japanese. We go deep into the nostalgia, and today was sort of meta, I would say.
It was.
We were watching episode 17 of the dub or 21 of the sub. The dub was called An Animated Mess.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know the subtitle? I can read it for you.
Oh, yeah, read it for me.
Okay, the sub was titled Protect the Children's Dreams, Friendship Through Anime.
Oh my god, that's so cute.
There's a lot. There's a lot. I enjoyed a lot of things about this one.
Oh, yeah, the dub ripped all that right out.
Really?
Yeah. Well, not all
that's right, because I'm literally getting confused. I watched the sub. You watched the dub.
Yes.
I got confused and just asked you to give me my own title.
I don't know. Is this a test?
This long silence. Yeah, I just want to know if you're keeping tabs on what I'm doing, because I'm not.
Yeah, I'm a manager. I'm the boss.
Oh my gosh. It's been a week, and sometimes I forget what language I'm participating in media in.
Oh, and heads up, I'm still recovering, I guess, from COVID. Still have a cough.
COVID is infinite. That's like bitch, you're on like week 2 or 3.
Oh, 4, I think, because I got it at like the beginning of January.
Wow. Yeah, that's right. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's not ideal.
Yeah. Don't get it, guys. Get your vaxes and your boosters.
Get your vaccines. Get your boosters.
And stay away from people.
Absolutely. Wear your mask.
Stay inside and watch Sailor Moon only.
Oh man. I wish.
Yeah. Do you want to give us the summary?
But also I don't wish. So. All right. Yes. What was this episode about? It was interesting because in this episode, the bad guy's evil plan was to use the power of friendship to defeat the Sailor Scouts, which I wasn't expecting. Sort of. But more broadly, their plan was that our pickup artist, Nephrite dude, had the stars tell him that this one animator girl was going to become evil, or she had a lot of power, and so he infested her pencil and she became evil, but she got over it. That wasn't a very good summary, but it was a weird episode. Yeah. There were two friends that were both cool teamwork. They liked each other, but then they had a rivalry, so that got taken advantage of.
Okay.
And it almost ruined the Sailor V anime, which is something that's been mentioned a few times in this series and still raises so many questions for me. The existence of Sailor V as a both literal and fictional character in their universe.
Yeah, there's that. And then in the dub, because if you recall, like, they've barely mentioned Sailor V except for, because they've cut a lot of references. Yeah, so it's like something that in the sub has been building and building and building until eventually we're going to meet Sailor V soon. Well, not super soon, Jupiter soon, but in the dub, it's just kind of like...
Eventually.
Hey, have you been paying attention? There's, just in case you haven't, here's a thing that we're going to pretend means nothing.
Yeah. And I just remember when I originally watched the dub, just being so bewildered because the Sailor V stuff just would come out of nowhere and then vanish. And then like she appears and they're like, oh yeah, and you're like, what is happening?
Yeah.
They don't explain it.
Like, am I supposed to know who this is? Whereas in the sub, literally from the first episode on, it's been a concept they've been building.
Yes. So if we haven't made this clear, the animation studio that our victims work at is an animation studio that is making the Sailor V anime within the world of the Sailor Moon anime. Because Sailor V is a known crime fighter vigilante who works with the police to stop jewel thieves, I think.
Yeah, and she has a video game.
But apparently she has a video game. She has some sort of marketing. I don't know if she gets any of these payouts. Who's got the trademark on her?
Do you think that Artemis and Luna are like running a side hustle of branding and content creation for Sailor V? And like that's what they talk about in the arcade at night?
Have you considered that maybe that's why Luna wants to find the Moon Princess so much?
So that's
just open up her branding options.
Yeah. So that they can make the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but like the Moon Cinematic Universe.
We're gonna make a Sailor expanded universe. Boy. I mean, if you think about it, the author of Sailor Moon did technically make an expanded universe for her own, because she made a Sailor V comic before she made a Sailor Moon comic.
Oh my god, really?
If I'm remembering correctly. I think so. She literally was writing Sailor V and then came up with the idea for Sailor Moon and then kind of like combine them together. I could be wrong.
I feel no, that sounds right. So, like that's hitting on a memory. So I decided that that's 100% right, and we need not look into it.
And it explains why some of that backstory is so weird, because it you know, the whole story of like some jewel thief fighting vigilante was tacked together with this other story. So original expanded universe.
Yeah. Okay, so right off the bat, since I have the dub, we'll go through what I think happened.
Let's start from the beginning. I hope you wrote notes because I am using my brain to remember.
Okay, I did.
If not, we'll both use our brains, and our ADHD is going to guarantee that will go well.
Yeah. I did write notes. No guarantees that they're going to be notes on the things that they need to be on, like the plot. But the first one I wrote, like just right off the bat, it feels like something is missing because we start with, I think it's like a trailer for the Sailor V film. They call it a film. So I don't know if it's like in the sub that they're saying like an anime show or if like it's a film. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. So they're making a Sailor V movie, and then we cut to Serena watch it like really close to the TV, except that they've clearly cut out whatever was in the TV and replaced it with snow, like the static looking stuff. And then it just says Sailor V movie coming soon or something. And she's like, oh, I can't wait.
I don't think that happened at all. I'm literally pulling it up. I'm like, I got to watch the beginning of the episode again. But I don't think any of that was there. They may have, because they cut all the previous seeds about Sailor V existing, they may have just tried to like add in a thing about Sailor V existing at the beginning of the episode, because I don't remember that at all.
Oh my god, how does the sub start?
That's why I was like, I gotta look it up. I should have taken notes. I'm checking. But continue. Okay. So she's watching a TV episode?
She's watching what looks like a trailer on TV, and then she's mumbling about how like, oh, I wish it could come out like tomorrow. I can't wait. What am I gonna do until this comes out? And then Luna says something Luna-y. Something mean that I didn't write down. And then we cut to
that's what they do.
These two girls walking down the street, and like, oh my god, I had to stop watching for a moment and write down. Because the girl that is gonna get haunted or whatever has a full-on Southern Belle voice. Like full Southern Belle accent, where she's like,
I'm really not looking forward to meeting with Mr. Masterson.
Why not? Didn't you finish your latest assignment?
That's not it. I just don't feel like having my work picked apart.
So, first of all, I guess they had just a little bit of her watching Sailor V on the TV, and then they did say this meta thing like, I'd like to meet the type of person that would make up a silly story like this, or something like that, which is like a beautiful burn. It was very funny. So there was something, but it was really short and it didn't have like it sounds like they may have messed with it a little.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then we cut right to the girls on the street. I loved the so there's two girls, I don't remember either of their names. They're gone completely forever. But one of them had short hair,
Yeah.
like a almost like a boy haircut. It was real cute.
Yeah.
I liked her vibe because it I like when shows have different types of girls, I guess.
Mhm.
Does that make sense? They're not all like one mold of person. Like it wasn't relevant to anything. It wasn't like, oh, she's a tomboy
Right.
personality. Like, no, she just had a short haircut. I liked that. And then her friends, and I think it was definitely meant to be a friendship vibe, but man, I got like dating
Oh,
vibes
I
from
got
them
dating
the whole episode.
vibes.
Okay. So I'm gonna call them, comic girl and girlfriend girl, even though they both draw comics.
Well, so I did write down that the girl's name is Lori, the one who gets haunted or victimized.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we can just use that name. I don't remember the other girl's name.
Yeah, their names were like Haruma and Matoki or something, but I'm making those
Yeah.
up, so probably not those names.
Yeah. Let me do this voice for you. See if I can do it. Okay. I just don't feel like having my work picked apart.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That's her voice the entire time. Oh my goodness, my special pencils. Like the entire time.
Oh my god. Here's a question, because in the sub, I'm like, what did I watch? I've already forgotten. In the sub, they're complaining because their editor or manager, whoever, won't give like clear feedback. And then they cut to the scene where he's giving feedback and he's like, her hips just don't have any love in them. Her leg line has no passion. And they're like, okay, so you're saying she needs to be sexier. And he's like, no, I'm a father. I would never say that. How dare you imply I say that? He's got like his little baby
Yeah.
girl on his back, which is pretty cute.
Yeah, I thought that
But
was cute.
I was like, I wonder if they're going to cut that out of the dub or leave that in.
Yes, so he gives very specific feedback, and so they just have him as like a very exacting taskmaster. So he's like,
He wasn't looking for sexier Sailor V.
No, he goes, she just came out of a battle, so her hair needs to be like more rough, and then like this line, the line of her leg like needs to be 1 millimeter thinner. Or so like her leg's too fat, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's that I was like, when I watched this, I was like, they're gonna change this.
Yeah. And they did.
Yeah.
There was also something going on with this conversation where the girl, and again, she is now known as the girlfriend, and then Lori. The girlfriend's face looks like she's smiling or laughing at something, but like it's not matching up with what they're talking about because Lori is just down in the dumps in this conversation, in the dub conversation about like, oh, I feel like I'm gonna flunk out because I just don't want him to like pick all my work apart again, blah blah blah. But I'm like, something's missing.
Yeah, whereas I think they were kind of like frustrated, but they were also kind of ragging on this dude. So yeah. Okay.
Makes sense. And then they're walking away, and the Lori drops one of her folders of her work, and then Amy comes out just as that's happening, and she tries to call out to them, but it's too crowded, so she picks up the folder to find her name. And then she's like, oh, this is at the animation studio. That'll be interesting. Except that, of course, it's Amy's dub voice. So it's like, oh, so this will be at the animation studio. That will be interesting.
I'll have to wait and bring it back to her after school. That should be interesting.
Oh my god. Yeah, and in this one she was just like, oh, I got cram school. She tries to run after them and she's like, oh, but I gotta go to cram school. And she's like, I can bring it to them after school.
Yeah. She does mention she'll go after school.
Which is sweet. She's a good girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a good girl.
Yeah. She does, I mean,
is this where we go to Nephrite?
Yes. And all I wrote was with like little curly cues was Gemini warriors. Because that's
all I know is that every time they cut to Nephrite's creepy mansion in the woods, I'm just like, I love that we just never explain or use the creepy mansion in the woods. He just has one. It's not relevant to anything. And I appreciate that about him.
Yeah, nobody has explained who is fronting the money for this mansion in the
His
woods.
fancy car and his creepy mansion that he never brings anyone to. And does he need a mansion?
Well, he needs a mansion. This is Neff right here.
Does anyone really need a mansion?
He needs one. I have a question for you. Does he gas up his
Okay.
own car?
This guy would never. I don't know how gas happens to his car. There are places that'll fill your car up with gas, right? Like rich people have those. I don't
Well,
know.
that's true. Maybe he uses magic or the Gemini warriors.
He just like yeah, the Gemini Warriors. Yeah, because this time the manga girl or anime girl is been picked as the target, and then the star constellation he's using is Castor and Pollux, which are, well, he describes them as later on as like twins. They are bound by friendship, so they're very powerful. But I mean, as far as I know, they are just twins in the mythology. They're twins.
Yeah, he doesn't really mention the star names. He just says, I need to use my Gemini warriors.
And release the Gemini warriors. This time, I'll beat the Sailor Scouts at their own game.
And Castor and Pollux are the Gemini. So I guess they thought Castor and Pollux was too complicated for American children to understand.
Yeah. Ugh. I did notice this. I finally found a way to describe his voice, which is if you've ever seen like BoJack Horseman or Arrested Development or anything, like Will Arnett's voice, where he's doing like something really over the top and it's like growly and raspy, but like clown like as well. That is Nebright's voice.
It's so funny to go back and forth between the dubs and the subs because it just has like a completely different flavor for some of these characters. Like in the sub, I would say that they're going for like smooth and elegant and pick a bird. And then like in the dub, like he occasionally puts that voice on, but most of the time he's like, I am evil. Like,
Yeah. But it's a mix, right? Because it's the growly, I'm evil,
Yeah.
but also smooth.
yes. I think was it last time I said he sounded like strong bad?
Yeah. Yeah, he does. The other thing, I mean, the voices in this dub episode specifically are all over the place because we've got Amy's weird
Southern Belle.
We've got Southern Belle, we've got Canadian, just standard because that's where all these people are actually from. The voice actors. We've got Amy's weird like alien English voice. We've got Luna's Mary Poppins alien English voice. We've got Nephrite's strong bad voice. We've got like everybody's voice is bonkers in this episode.
I'm flashing back to that time, and it still somewhat exists, but much less. But that time in animation and movies where whenever they wanted to make someone like kind of proper, they were like, let's do a fake British voice. Like,
Yeah.
why?
I think they still do that.
To some extent, definitely. Well, we got all of the voices on Sailor Moon. We got it's how they add diversity to the cast. And Molly wasn't in this episode, so we did not get any Brooklyn voices,
No,
which is sad.
that would have tipped me over.
Molly's probably still in the hospital.
Dude.
Wasn't she in the hospital at some point?
She should be, and nobody has checked on her in the show. And I did spy, I think in one of the episode titles, I think that there's going to be an episode about Molly. So I'm guessing she's fine.
Yeah. They're gonna do a Molly Nephrite ship. I'd forgotten that completely. I thought it was Nephrite and Jupiter that had something, but nope. It's Nephrite and Molly.
She is 15 and not tall, which is how I've decided that it's okay that Jupiter is a ship.
She comes off as very young and he comes off as very old. So even leaving aside like the whole like weird ambiguousness of anime ages, like bad vibes.
Ew. Okay, so
yeah.
So he has decided that he is going to or he hasn't decided. The stars have pointed out to Nephrite that it's going to be Lori, our animator girl. So then we cut to Amy, who is walking at night after school, and she's like, oh, like, she's kind of debating whether or not she should go home or go drop this off, but it's kind of late. So she's kind of like, I've got so much studying to do, so I think I'm going to go home. So just as she's deciding to do that, instead of return the folder to the other school, she sees the fancy pickup artist car like speed on by, and she looks in and she's like, that looks like Nephrite.
It zooms by so intensely. His fancy car zooms by so intensely, I thought he was going to run her over. Like, that was the vibes of the cuts in the scene. And yeah, and then they cut to her face and she's like, and she goes, oh, it's his human name. And then she goes, it's Nephrite, which is where I realized that they, I guess, know who Nephrite is at this point, which I did not realize.
Why haven't they just Googled where he lives?
No records? Maybe he stole the house. No, he's never brought anyone home.
Finally, somebody else is going to meet him at his mansion, so we'll save that for a little later. At least in the dub, it does.
Is it suicide?
Yeah. Spoilers.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so she's like, actually, I'm concerned about where he's going, and she goes chasing after him.
Yep. This is another, like, this is one of the rare times where Amy goes by herself, I think, to, like, takes it upon herself to go deal.
Yeah, there was a couple cool, like, pattern breaker moments in this episode, which I liked.
So then we are cutting to the animator space where Lori and her girlfriend are, I guess, trying to finish stuff up, or Lori might still just be there alone at night, because she's super worried about finishing.
The girlfriend's there briefly, and then she takes off because she's already finished her stuff. I can't remember. Maybe not.
She'd finished her like stack of stills, or
that's what it was. She goes to look and she's like, wow, her stack's already turned in and they're so much better than mine, or whatever. Like, she thinks that her girlfriend's art is like better Sailor V art than hers. And she's kind of jealous.
They all look the same to me.
And she, by the way, she's clearly staying after hours to work, and she's like, I gotta be better, or whatever. And like, my little labor union heart was just like, you're not getting paid for this, go home, girl.
I
know. Don't do this. Don't work for free.
I know, right? Well, they're all working for free because they're all students in the
in
the studio. Yeah, that's the thing. It sounds like it's like an internship or like an
They're what?
Oh, so in the dub they made it like this is the animator school, so they're all students who are working, I guess, for free on Sailor V.
That is weird. And no, they said that when we graduate, we're going to be animators next year. This is their job, as far as I know. They're adults, and this is their job.
Oh, wow.
I don't know why they changed that. Maybe they thought that kids would relate more to, like, other kids, so they were trying to make them younger. But that would be really fucked up if they were making them more.
Wait, so they were wearing, like, schoolgirl uniforms in one of the flashbacks. So I guess I just assumed that was recent.
Well, that they flash back to before they graduate. Because that's why they say when we graduate. So we might as well do the flashback now, because it's around now, right?
Yeah, it's right. It's right around now.
Is they flash back, and it's before they graduate, and they see these like, wow, professional animator pencils for sale, and they wind up like buying them and splitting them for when they're going to be real animators next year, and they say they're going to save them for when they work on like the ultimate anime that won't ruin children's dreams, which is my favorite phrase that they say like 4 times in the episode. Because I feel like I would have phrased that not as a negative, like I would have said the ultimate anime that'll like preserve children's dreams, or that'll like inspire children's dreams, not won't ruin children's dreams. They say that multiple times. And so they're like, we're gonna take the ribbon off, we'll both agree to take it off together, and we'll use these pencils on that anime. But what Lori has been cheating. She's been slipping the ribbon off and taking the pencils out of the box, and she's almost used up all the pencils.
Yeah, all she has is just like a little stub left. And I just find it interesting that the dub, of course, stripped that of all meaning and just made it so that we'll only use these for special projects. Yeah, special projects.
Well, I'm sure Cassie would understand. She wouldn't want me to get kicked out. Still, I've used up almost all my pencils.
I just am trying to get you into the vibe of what I've had to experience.
It's a really good because I was gonna say I think mine was on the like it was a little on the melodramatic side, but it was definitely very dramatic. I enjoyed it. The subtitled episode.
Yeah, special projects. um, they also said, and this is like a bonkers thing to say in any time. Well, it's not that bonkers to me, I guess. So they're looking at the special pencils, and they're like, pencils like this will make us better artists. And I'm like, no, that's not. That's not how it works.
You know, they keep saying these pencils inspire them, and everyone knows if you pay more for a pencil, it's gonna. I mean, I don't know. The funny thing to me was I was expecting like I know there's special pins, like special pins make
Yeah.
sense to me. These were clearly pencils.
Yeah.
And I do know there's like lead quality and stuff can make a big difference in a pencil. But I was a little like, what's special about these pencils?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Probably just the. I mean, don't get me wrong. They're probably really nice pencils. But just
Yeah.
to any budding artists out there, it's not about your tools. I mean, tools are important, but like you can make beautiful art with crayons.
So yeah, Lori's down to like the stub of one pencil, and she says she's been using the pencils because she feels inspired when she uses them, and also she feels like her girlfriend is so talented she's being left behind. She doesn't want to get left behind
Yeah.
with her girlfriend's amazing talent, which is going to come up again later. It was cute.
She's
It was
definitely
sad.
mentioning that she's getting left behind and that she needs to. It's time to use the special pencils so that her art will be better. And then of course,
And this is when Nephrite shows up. Oh no, wait, we have to have Mercury. I think he still has the standoff with Mercury first, right?
oh, I think you're right. Yeah,
isn't-
because I wrote. Wait,
Does Mercury see him on the way into the building or on the way out of the building?
on the way out, I think.
That makes more sense. Okay. Mercury wouldn't just stand there and let him go into the building. So I'm wrong.
And to be fair, she's running on foot after him. He's in a fancy car, so he definitely would have had time, like had a window. So he comes in
Like a fucking creeper.
and just like
this
he's standing.
girl is
He's
alone.
standing so close
Yes.
to her.
This girl is alone in her workplace, and this grown ass adult man, I guess she's an adult too, but like just fucking shows up, like leaning onto her space like the creepy pickup artist he is. And she's like, "What are you doing here?" And he's like, "I'm a fan. I wanted to meet you. I wanted to see your workplace." And I was like, "You're gonna die."
Oh my god.
Was it that sketchy in this dub? Because that was really creepy.
Yes, it was absolutely sketchy. I cannot for the life of me remember what he said. It wasn't "I'm a fan of yours" because I would have been like, "Blah!"
Yeah, he knew her by name. If you're a minor animator, honestly, even if you're like really a celebrity and someone shows up when you're alone at your workplace and is like, "I'm a big fan," like fucking run.
Run. Yeah.
Get out.
Run.
Yeah.
So he does his whole thing. He touches the pencil. Oh, he like picks up her pencil and she's like, "No." And I'm like, "Don't you dare break that pencil," because it's like her last special pencil. And he puts the little curse on it.
Yeah, the monster curse.
And then as soon as she picks it up, then she's like going like crazy, I guess. And then as he's exiting, Sailor Mercury is standing on top of his car and is like, "What are you doing here?" Yeah, I literally wrote, "Yeah, Sailor Mercury. She looks pissed."
Gonna take him on all by herself. She tracked him down. I love her.
I do think they cut something because he lunges forward and then we cut to like her falling off the car. So like I didn't see any sort of
They had an actual little fight. It was short, and I can't remember exactly how it went, but like she tried to kick him and he like sideswiped her and knocked her over, and then he was like, "Get better at fighting and try me again," or something like that, and goes off in his car.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Dang, that's such a bummer because they completely cut their little fight where like he just lunges forward and then she's like on the ground. And that was kind of frustrating. And then he says something about how like you're just as wimpy as that other one, Sailor Moon or something. And then so that later she's telling them the story and Sailor Moon's crying about being called wimpy. And then Luna calls Sailor Moon wimpy as well because that's Luna. But something that I found interesting, just side note, is like Sailor Mercury is definitely the patron saint of like genius loners and
You're
like
right.
hardworking students. Yeah.
Well, literally, she sees this and is like, "This is clearly someone's work, and they need it, and I'm going to go out of my way to get it back to them." Because she goes in after Nephrate's gone, or was it the later? But she goes in and turns the stuff in. It must be the next day.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. Yeah. No,
But
I think she still goes in after because she's in her regular clothes again.
Yeah. And at that point, she meets the other friend because this guy, the Lori brushes her off because she's in crazy genius mode, possessed pencil mode. And her friend, her girlfriend, is like, "Oh, she's just really stressed today. Thanks for bringing this. Why don't you come back after school or tomorrow or whatever, and I'll give you a tour around the studio." So that's relevant because they're gonna come back later.
So that must be what Amy was like telling them about, because I had skipped over that part because I was busy writing.
The reason I bring it up is because I think they may have changed, because I don't think Sailor Moon was sad that he called her lazy. Sailor Moon is sad because Ami went without her. She's like, "What? You went to fight someone without me?" And Luna's like, "This doesn't sound like you." And Ami's like, "Yeah, that doesn't really sound like you." And Sailor Moon was like, "I didn't get to see the studio. I could have seen the studio where Sailor V is made." And they're like, "Okay, that sounds like you." And Luna's like, "Whatever." And then Ami's just like, "Yeah, come with me later. We got invited back." And Sailor Moon's like, "Yay." But it was cute. It was very cute.
Oh, that's so
I don't know why they
cute.
changed that. It was a really cute interaction.
Yeah. And did they change it because she's like, "I'm not wimpy. How dare he?" And then Luna's like, "This from a girl who cries during pillow fights."
Oh, I'm gonna blast him straight into the Chironosphere!
Oh, this from a girl who cries during pillow fights.
Oh yes, I forgot to tell you, it's at the animation school. That's where they're doing the work for the Sailor V movie. Oh, how cool! Maybe she'll be there. I'll get her autograph.
Wow, Luna. Catty.
And
Meow.
also, and then also she's saying, Serena's like, "I want to go and meet Sailor V at the animation studio," and everybody's like, "Oh my god!"
So they just made her stupider. That's great. Love it. Very inspiring to young girls.
Yeah.
She wanted to get one thing that I thought maybe they changed just because like it's more like a Japanese anime manga culture thing. I'm in the middle. Oh, doggy's coming to say hi. Hi, doggy.
Oh,
hi. Yeah, I missed you too, bud. Was that they keep saying they want to get a cell. I don't, I can't remember what they called it, but they wanted to get cells and they wanted to get autographs.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
It was neat.
So she wants Sailor V's autograph.
Yeah, you can't get that. Sailor V is a real person. Actually, you know what? Is that a stupid thing to say? Because Sailor V is a real person. I don't see why she wouldn't be involved with her own anime.
Yeah, but she wouldn't be like in the animator studio.
Maybe she animates it. You don't know.
All by herself, her and Artemis, the cat, just with this crayons. We cut to, I think they call Ray, who's at school, to let her know that they're going to be going to the animation studio. And then Ray says something like, "I'll bet you wanted Sailor V's autograph, didn't you?" And Serena's like, "Meh." It was weird. Then we cut to the school.
I feel like they might have added that, but I might have just toned that out. So when Ray shows up, she's in like pink overalls. It's really cute look for her. It's very different from her usual style. It's super cute. And she's really excited to be going to the place. And then they were like, but she's playing it like she's not excited. They're like, "I thought you didn't even want to come." And then like she drops all of these autograph cards. And then she's like, "No, they're for my classmates. They wanted autographs." And she's just like, I don't know. She's doing the total Tsunari thing. She's very excited. And I thought it was cute.
Yeah, because they're talking about I don't know why they had the whole spelling test thing. That was so weird. So they run into Ray, she drops go ahead.
What did they have her drop? Was it still autograph cards? I was wondering if they would change that.
Yeah, so they run into her and they're like, "Ray, did you just run home to change before you came to meet up with us. So they're giving her shit about not wearing her school uniform. And then she's like, no, I brought my clothes with me. And then her backpack falls out and all those cards fall down. And so then she's like trying to pick them up. And then there's this weird moment where, and I wrote this down, there's a literal freeze frame on Serena and Amy when Ray drops her autograph photos or whatever. And of course, they translated it as they're like photos of Sailor V, I think, that she wanted autographed.
I was like, they aren't going to trust Americans to know what these cards are and to understand what an autograph card is.
But like, I just think it's funny that Ray is so similar to Serena. Where like they both want the same thing, but Ray is like too cool for school, you know, and
Ray
pretends that she doesn't.
She doesn't.
Yeah, but I was wondering, like, did anything happen in the moment where like Serena and Amy are watching her, like her backpack fall out? Because it literally like is frozen. It's like,
well, the weird thing was I don't think they fell out of her backpack. I thought they fell out of like her overalls or something. I could be wrong, but
no, it's like the bottom fell out of her cute little backpack.
Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe they fiddled with that scene a little bit. Now I'm like wondering if I can pull this up or not. Probably not without getting a bunch of ads.
And then they added this line about that's like in Ray's brain where she's monologuing and she's like, I'm gonna get all these autographs and then I'm going to sell them and make big bucks, which I feel like just undercuts.
Which is why did they? It was like they undercut the fact that they're actually very similar. When it's like, no, they're really different. Like, do we even have Luna go like, that line sounds awfully familiar? Oh, okay. So the back, I am looking at it. Yeah, it did. The bottom of her backpack did rip, and she had a bunch of autograph boards in there. I don't know. I don't know what they would have been cutting there. Maybe just doing weird stuff with the timing or the pacing of some of the lines or something.
Yeah, I don't know. This one was real weird. So, so I guess Ray is always ripe for an opportunity. She would be selling crypto in the dub.
In the dub, yes. It's her and freaking, what's his name? Nephrite. I think we already talked about the Negaverse cryptocurrency.
What's it called? What did we call that crypto?
Negacoin? I don't know.
Negabits, maybe.
Negabucks.
Ooh, negabucks.
I like negabucks.
Okay, so now we cut to, this is where I was saying Zoe Sight is visiting the mansion, and this is the first time that anybody else has been at the mansion. So first of all, it's real. It's not just in his head. And she says something, because remember in the dub, they've changed Zoe Sight's gender.
Pause. I want to go back and explore the interesting alternate version of this tape where the mansion is a manifestation of Nephrite's psyche. And it's all in his head. Probably the stars would also all be in his head.
He's just been in a blank room the whole time.
It's like Hannibal's mind palace.
Yeah. He has like a full YouTube channel or something where he's talking about how to make money quick, how to be an entrepreneur, like, you know, all those YouTube entrepreneurs, except that when you watch the video, it's just him in like an empty room. And he's like, look at all my cars.
All right, so Zoe Sight shows up, who gives me gender whiplash every time I watch this because I keep going back and forth between the dub and the sub, and I keep forgetting that they've changed him to a girl in the dub, and then I forget that he's not a girl when I go back to the sub, and I'm like, I just get very confused.
Yeah, it's very confusing. They changed it because of homophobia. I'm pretty sure we can assume. So Zoe Sight's visiting the mansion and is saying something like, I wish I'd written this burn down. It was something like, oh, is this how you're going to get the Sailor Scouts? You're going to poison their tea, because he's sitting down for tea. And then they're like sitting and chatting and they have like a conversation, but it didn't sound very important. I think he was just going to like have him watch. He was like, watch my Gemini warriors take this on.
Yeah, well, I think this, because I don't remember exactly where this fell, but I don't remember T, but this is where he has the whole conversation about how his warriors are powered by friendship, and that's why they're going to be stronger than the Sailor Scouts. These two have a unique bond of friendship, and they're way more powerful than any of the Sailor Scouts because of their friendship. And that's where I was like, wow, we're giving the bad guys the power of friendship. That's new, and I appreciate it.
I wish that we'd explored that further. That, I think, gets ripped out of the dub. He just says that he might have said something along those lines, but it wasn't like a big deal. And it was he definitely does say, I'm going to beat the Sailor Scouts at their own game. And I remember thinking, because now you're using 2 instead of 1, and it's like a team now, it was very confusing to me. So they must have ripped the friendship out.
Well, we can't have children thinking that bad guys have friends.
I mean,
meanwhile, it's like literally the whole theme of the episode, because we got the friends that are competing. We got it's the whole way through. So as always, the dub likes to really take the themes and just take them right back out of the episode.
Yeah, just cut them out ruthlessly. So now we are at the animation studio, and Amy, Serena, and Ray are all there. And of course, Serena and Ray, it's so cute. They're fangirling out like over some of the animators, and they're like, oh my God, look at it. And they're like fanning out. And then Amy's the only one doing detective work. And so she's going and talking to the girlfriend. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so like Ray and Serena are kind of like being a little bit loud and like just very excited, you know, fangirly, whatever. And Lori like slams out of this like back office and is like yelling at them for making noise, and this isn't a place for children. And then she goes, do they hold on. So her girlfriend says something like, hey, like, you don't need to be rude, like I invited them here. And Lori goes on this rant, and she's like, do they still have to scream like stuck pigs?
That's enough, Lori. You're being rude. We invited them to look around and see how we do things.
Do they have to squeal like 2 stuck pigs? I can't concentrate with all that noise.
Wow, that was an interesting choice. Yeah, I think what one of the things they said was that her girlfriend calls her out. She's like, these are our fans. You shouldn't talk to them that way. They came here to show us our support. And she's like, they're probably just here for cell animations and signatures. And they both look kind of guilty.
Oh, is that the scene where like Serena and Ray both kind of turn like gray, and they have
they
like,
turned
weird things coming off?
Because they got called out.
Yeah. So they definitely cut that. They were just they were still, obviously the imagery is still there, but she was saying the stuck pigs thing instead,
which is weird.
Dang, once again the sub is just so much more clever. And they like set things up and then like complete them, whereas the dub just like doesn't set things up, or does set things up and then never comes to fruition. So then the phone rings.
I love this phone call, by the way.
Oh my God. I'm very interested to know what actually was happening. So this is what happens in the dub. The phone rings. It's the boss, who again has it's so cute. The way that they draw him, he has like his little girl on his back, like he's carrying his little kid.
Like in a little baby backpack.
Yeah. And so every time we see him, he's carrying her. And I'm like, we need to normalize this more, because this was the 90s, and I'm like, I have not really seen imagery like that in any, at least American media. Yeah, so I think we need to bring some of that back. And then he's saying that like he's so impressed with her work and it's so good, and like on the Sailor V sequel, she can be the lead animator. And then Lori goes, there won't be a Sailor V sequel. It's gonna get canceled. We're gonna make a Negaverse film. And like starts going on and on. She goes on this massive rant about how like evil will triumph over good, and we're gonna have our own film. And it's just like, it's so bonkers, because I'm like, this is the only time that we've ever had like one of these possessed victims or whatever understand what's happening and like talk about the Negaverse. I'm like, no, this doesn't make any sense. Why would you know any of this? Oh, and then she goes, wait. She goes, My energy belongs to the Negaforce.
Weak, lazy humans just don't interest me anymore. My energy belongs to the Negaforce!
That's our special pencil.
Energy level at maximum. Unleash the Gemini warriors!
The Negaforce.
Yeah.
New one. Okay. Whew, that was a change. So, yeah, not exactly. So she has a conversation with the manager who's like, "Wow, I love your new drawings. They're awesome. You know, keep it up. You're in charge of the final scene or whatever." And she's like, "Yeah, okay. So for the final scene, I decided to kill off Sailor V." And everyone's like, "What the fuck?" Yeah, and she's like, "Nope, we're gonna do it." And so the manager starts freaking out on the phone. Everyone in the office is freaking out. And the really, really cute thing is at the end of the phone call, the manager's trying to talk to her. And so he'll go like, "Wait, what? What are you doing?" And his little baby on his back will go, "Babu, babu, babu," and imitate him. And the subtitles were doing this amazing thing where he'd go, "What?" And the baby would go, "Babu, babu," and they would write "Babu, babu," parentheses, "What?" And then you go, "Hello, hello, babu, 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 hello, hello." It's really cute.
So
It was super cute. Yeah. So the baby was part of this conversation. Yeah. And then she turns to everyone and they're like, "What?" And they're like, she's like, "Well, I'm in charge and I can do the final scene however I want," which is, I don't think, how any part of animation works. And they're all like, her girlfriend's like, "No, animation is about teamwork. You are supposed to understand that. You know, we all work together." And she's like, "I understand what you're saying." And then she's like, "And I don't give a shit." And then she just like leaves.
Interesting. So that's almost like more savage than what happened. So like she I'm still stuck on, we're not gonna have a Sailor V sequel. We're gonna make a Negaverse movie.
Yeah, that was wild. Although, in a world where Sailor V is a real person, I'm fascinated by the idea that you make a story where she dies.
Yeah.
You just
Yeah,
kill her
me
off.
too.
What does that mean?
So in this one, the girlfriend is more like, you're gonna get fired, like you're gonna lose your job here, lose your spot here, and Lori just decides that she quits
Which
instead
is
and then walks
less
away.
thematically relevant because they're setting up a whole thing about like competition versus teamwork and the power of friendship. Like the themes make more sense. Also, they were playing like so much romantic music over all their interactions. I was just like,
Really, I'm gonna go back and watch this one. Yeah, they're definitely in love. Yeah, so this episode was very much about like pressure and getting fired and like not being able to keep up and blah blah blah, not at all about teamwork or whatever. So she walks out because she's quit, and then the whole crowd, which I guarantee, like, tell me if I'm wrong, but like I'm pretty sure that all of the animators animated themselves into this
I
crew.
wondered about that because they had some distinct like facial features occasionally. Like it was cute.
Yeah, it was adorable.
I love this
And
idea.
so they're all like, "Oh, should we go after her?" And like the girlfriend's like, "No, just let me go after her." But then of course,
But also all the Sailor Scouts go with her.
also go. Yeah.
I thought that was very funny.
And, oh.
No, just me and these total strangers.
Yeah. The other part, I just remembered like when Amy was doing her detective work, she was like, "Have you seen any strange people come around?" And, like, just ask all these questions. Have you seen any strange goings on?
You, Amy.
Oh, just Amy as a detective. So they follow her. They run out to the parking lot or whatever it is outside, and she's already gone. And then they look up. They're like, "Where did Lori go?" And they look up, and she's on the roof. So she
Did
like
your heart
jumped.
stop? Like they go, "She's on the roof," and I was like, "Oh my god, she's gonna jump!" And that was not what they were going for, but it freaked me out.
It did kind of have a vibe, like especially when they run up there. I'm like, "Oh god, she's gonna be at the edge."
I know, me too. That's where I thought they were going with that scene. No, I don't know why she was on the roof. They just needed somewhere to have a showdown where no one else was involved. But
Yeah. Oh, this might be where she says my energy belongs to the Negaforce, because they're like, "What's going on? Like, you're acting so strange." And then she starts ranting about the Negaverse and whatever, and like my energy belongs to the Negaverse, or I wrote
She pulls out
Negaforce.
her little
Who
pencil
knows?
and she's like, with this pencil, I can do anything or something like that. And the other girl's like, wait, that pencil,
Oh,
hang on. And then the pencil's evil.
interesting. Yeah, I didn't notice the pencil in this one. I wonder if they kind of like cut that out. And then the Gemini
monsters.
warriors pop out.
Yeah.
They pop out.
And did you notice that the girlfriend just like conveniently passes out, which was like
Yes.
very frequently the bystanders pass out, but usually they make some sort of gesture as to why, like they get thrown into a wall or like there's some sort of gas. But this time she just literally sees the monsters and she's just like, "Yeah, I'm out. Bye." She just goes down.
I got the vibe, especially now, given what you were describing about how they're using the power of friendship or whatever. I kind of feel like it was both of them. Like, yes,
Actually, you're right.
the one person.
I did wonder about that. When she passed out, I wondered if somehow, like, yeah, it was through the pencil, it was draining both of them.
Yeah.
They didn't make that explicit, but I did wonder.
Pencil set.
And we got two monsters.
Because, exactly, there's two monsters, and then both of them were passed out. And then these monsters were, like, pretty cool looking, too. Like, I mean, very much stripper vibes with a tail, like, very long tails that are perma, like, holding hands, holding tails, holding hands.
Those are linked together, and they did it. The two friends do a pinky promise, like a couple points over their pencils, and so that the friend monsters have their tails linked together, like in a pinky promise.
Oh,
it's cute.
I didn't notice that. Yeah, their voices in the dub were monster voices.
No, they
were monster voices.
Wow, I don't like that.
But the designs were like super sexy, so I'm like, this doesn't fit
that's not
at
the
all.
voices they went for more what you would think. I liked that they immediately basically did a Mercury and a Mars attack. Like they paired up and they were like,
dope.
That was cool. So one of them did a fire attack and then they spun around with their little tails, and then the other one did a bubbles attack, and Mercury and Mars were like, they did our attacks. They were so pissed.
Yeah. And there was something in the animation that I thought was super cool where like the one who does the bubbles attack does like a pitcher stance. Like she like kicks her leg up and then like throws it under her leg. And it's just like way cooler than how Mercury does it.
Yeah. The sailors were just like, they're so much cooler than us.
Were they really?
They didn't say that, but I felt like that was the vibe.
What Mars goes like, but I have Mars fire. Something like that.
See, this was the part where I went, okay, so the monsters are using the power of teamwork. And I was like, they've literally gotten so tired of having Mercury shout at Sailor Moon and Sailor Mars, like, to please fucking use teamwork. We got to use teamwork. And they've done that lesson like 4 times that they were like, maybe if the monsters try teaching them the lesson. So now the monsters are trying
to got it this time.
We'll see. But yeah.
And then the Gemini Warriors. I just love that name. Gemini Warriors. I don't know why I'm so obsessed with it.
I guess
they start arguing
out like that because Castor and Pollux takes a couple syllables, so they can't just say Gemini. They have to say Gemini Warriors.
Oh, that makes sense.
Instead of Castor and Pollux.
So in the dub, they start arguing about. I honestly do not remember what they start arguing about.
It's so fast. They do exactly one attack. They immediately pick a fight, actually very much like Sailor Moon and Mars would, over absolutely nothing. They declare themselves no longer friends. They break their tails apart, and then they're very wimpy and they get their butts kicked.
Yeah, and I just have to say, like, this is the first time we've seen this kind of attack from the Sailor Scouts, where, like, so they say, okay, let's all do it together. Like, let's work together on this one. And they're like, right. And so they all do, like, split screen. They all start their attacks. And then they combine them into the Moon Tiara action, or whatever it is.
Which is neat.
So it's, like, on fire with bubbles. And it's a tiara. And it, like,
right? That's a game changer.
So cool.
That was so cool.
Yeah. I have never seen them do that before. So honestly, I don't remember that being a thing in the rest of the episode. So who knows if this is going to come back at all.
I don't think they ever do it again as far as I know.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look up and
So
see if it
then,
says in the wiki. Keep going.
yeah, good call. So while you're doing that, we are now at the end of the episode, and Lori is very apologetic to her girlfriend.
Hang on, I have to read this. Sorry, I know you're talking, but first is the first and last appearance of the Gemini Warriors. Last time the Negaverse is shown trying to gather energy. What's gonna happen?
What?
I was like, what? They just
It's been like 20 episodes.
Yeah, what are they gonna do for the rest of the series? It says first time the Scalar Scouts shout their transformations simultaneously. Second time Moon and Mars use their attacks combined. Only Mercury Bubbles is also used this time. It doesn't say if they ever do it again. But yeah, I want to know what's going to happen.
You know, I just had a thought. Do you think that maybe their like supreme ruler or whatever is like Malachite or something? And like that's what they need energy for, and they bring him back? I don't know. We'll find out next week.
Because they keep talking about that silver crystal. Maybe the silver crystal?
Yeah.
At some point they pivot to getting the crystal or something instead of energizing it.
Oh, maybe that's what it is.
Or they're like, we just got to kill these Sailor Scouts.
This is classic Nega Corporation where the goalposts just keep moving.
They don't have a concrete company goal.
No, they don't. They need some messaging work.
Business plan.
So yeah. So Lori and her girlfriend are sitting back in the animation studio. They're all fine now. And Lori's apologizing for how she's acted. And then the girlfriend is like, I just have like one question for you. Can I see your special pencil case? And Lori's like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't want to tell you, but it's empty. And so the girlfriend shows her pencil case, and it's also down to like one or two stubs. And she's like, I didn't want to tell you either. I was so embarrassed. Like, I've been using them too, but I didn't want to tell you. I thought you would get mad and like not be my friend anymore. And so they pinky promise to always communicate moving forward. And then Luna is watching. Yeah. And she says, oh, it looks like Sailor V is going to get her happy ending after all.
Can I
So
say
what did I miss?
Okay, so the actual conversation they had, which was, I thought, nicely thematic, is Lori's girlfriend goes, I've got a confession for you, and she gets out her pencil case, and yeah, it's down to stubs, and she's like, I was using them, and she goes, it's just that I felt like you were so talented and you were leaving me behind and I wanted to keep up with you. And the other girl goes, oh my God, I felt this, Lori goes, I felt the same way. So they have this like bonding moment where they both thought the other one was amazing. Love it. Aww. And they're like, wow. And then the girlfriend goes, and I don't even think it's the wrong, she's like, I know we promised, but I don't even think it was the wrong thing to do, because she goes, I think we should do our best all the time. And she's like, we don't need to wait for some special project. I think every project we should work our hardest and make an anime that won't ruin children's dreams. Sorry, I love that phrase every time it comes up. And so it was very fascinating to me, though, because one, I loved that, yeah, they both were like impressed by the other one and a little worried about being left behind. And they're like, no.
Yeah.
And then two, the idea that like maybe it wasn't wrong. They didn't have to like recommit to not use their special pencils. They're like, no, we can use our pencils. And then three, they were like, let's be a team from now on. Let's go back to being a team and growing better together. And it was like,
yeah,
it was really cute. It was really cute.
So cute. To be fair, I did kind of forget the first confession part that did happen in the dub, where they both admit that they were scared of the other leaving them behind and they were feeling competitive.
Okay, because that was very important to me. I was like, you gotta have that in there.
Not the special project thing. I just feel like there has to be some sort of like, it has to be meta or something for like, yeah, we only make anime that won't ruin children's dreams.
I really love that. Let's all protect anime that doesn't ruin children's dreams.
It's a good mission to live by.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I would like to make a podcast that doesn't ruin children's dreams.
Hopefully no children are listening to this podcast.
Yeah. Probably a problem.
So I'm trying to remember if there was any other scene with Serena at the end because I didn't write a note. I just wrote in its entirety the Sailor Says because it is wild.
I'm gonna say that they just kind of cut there. I can't remember if they did anything else, but I felt like that was kind of the end moment, which is a little unusual as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
I did like that. You can't read me the Sailor Says because I have to guess what the Sailor Says is.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so am I supposed to guess now?
Yeah, but did you have another thought that you were trying to get out?
I think I just liked how a lot of things tied together. It was neat that they took the advantage of the Gemini constellation and the twins to do something kind of thematic with it. I liked that, how they carried that through and then tied it into a literal running issue that the Sailor Scouts have, which is the whole thing about actually doing teamwork and not just having a fight every 3 seconds. So
Yes.
I enjoyed that. And even a little bit of that insecurity they sometimes have about each other where they're like, I feel like you're more talented than me. I don't know. It's neat. I like that.
That's a good theme, honestly, for us to learn.
That sometimes other people also think that you're the one who's not struggling and that you're really cool. And it's like, no, everyone's struggling. Everyone's impressed with each other. Except for you. You're
Aw. All right. Are you ready to guess what this Sailor Says is?
Yes. I would have said something about the power of friendship or, because of but it sounds like they changed that theme a little, so maybe not. Let me think. I think it will be something about keeping promises. Like when you make a promise to a friend, even if you really want to use those pencils, you're not allowed to use the pencils. But you should communicate because you said that they did something about communication. You should talk to a friend if you feel left behind. All right, what was it?
Oh, that sounds sweet. Okay.
No. Oh no.
Get ready.
Mm-hmm.
When Lori used Nephrite's pencil to draw better, she was cutting corners, using something that wasn't hers to further her career. So she
wasn't
got
Nephrite's
a lot of
pencil.
praise. I know. There's so many things wrong with this one.
Okay.
So she got a lot of praise and admiration. Deep inside, she knew it wasn't really her doing those beautiful drawings. Doing something well takes time and patience and hard work, but for all that effort, you have pride of knowing you did it all on your own. Don't be afraid of a little hard work. Most of all, don't cheat. Sailor Moon says, you won't be sorry. And then Luna goes, she should talk.
I have so many questions. So was just like a bad description of the episode handed to some intern and they were like, write a theme and they were like, okay, I think this episode was about like cheating with a pencil.
Yeah, like they just
like,
saw storyboards with no script.
As far as I know, it uses her own talent. Like that's the whole thing, is it just like amps them up so they overwork themselves. It doesn't like give them extra talent.
Yeah,
they
it's just
you know,
factually incorrect.
stop sleeping. It's not. It wasn't a stolen pencil. And if anything, it was stolen from like her friends because it was like, we promised we would do this together and we were doing it separately. We should have just both been like, hey, we want to do it now. Wow. I have a lot of feelings about that. Also, like thematically,
it doesn't fit at all.
Don't use better tools because that's cheating is an interesting. Are there many children out there that are cheating on their art projects by stealing pencils?
So. I just don't understand how she was cutting corners. Or
did she get a lot of praise? I guess she got a little bit of praise. She did get some praise.
She did get a little bit. But yeah, I just love that deep inside she knew it wasn't really her doing those beautiful drawings, which is just not correct. Like that's not how the power works. It emphasizes your existing power.
Yeah. That's interesting.
I literally like pressed. I had to like stop. I was like, "What?"
Yeah, well, you were like, she stole Nephrite's pencil, and it was like, she stole Nephrite's pencil. What? Imagine if it was Nephrite's pencil that he made the deal with her girlfriend, like he pinky promised with her girlfriend years ago. These are going to be our special pencils. Don't let some other girl come and take these away. This is you and me. No wonder he's so
just
angry.
Hanging out with high school girls. I'm like going back and like inserting him into all the flashbacks. This also just sounds like you know, nah, I'm not going to go that direction with it. It just sounds like some weird like internet comments, like an internet interpretation of what was going on. Where you're like, did you watch the thing? Like, that's not what's happening.
Well, that's where I feel like sometimes the people that are writing these are just handed like a blurb about the episode. They haven't read the script or anything, so they just guess.
But then I just wonder, like, the voice actors who are having to read this, like, they've read the script, they acted the whole thing, like, are they at no point going, I mean, I guess it's not really their job to be like, this doesn't match.
This relates to my thing of like, don't say after hours and work on animation when you're not getting paid.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Let's not get sidetracked in the whole discussion about abuse in the animation industry.
Right. Or in every industry.
What do they call it? Crunch culture or whatever.
Ugh. Oh, yeah, like with gaming studios especially.
Mm-hmm. But
wow. Yeah, so that was the Sailor Says.
That was wild. So to finish up, we have to say what episode we're watching next week and what our Sailor Says are.
All right, so I think that Sailor Says, what would I make it? Sailor says that it's tough to work with your significant other at work, but that doesn't mean that you have to keep it under wraps from everybody else. I don't know.
Okay. I'm gonna
Let me try that one again. Let me roll that back.
Okay.
What do you think? Should I stick with that? Should I do a new one?
All right, stick with it. Stick with your guns.
Okay. All right, let's stick with it.
I mean, mine is just going to be Sailor Says, don't do work that you're not getting paid for. Know your labor rights and start a union.
Unionize.
That's right. You know who's doing work that they're not getting paid for? Fucking Sailor Scouts. And you know who's raking in cash? Artemis and Luna with their freaking Sailor V merchandising deals. They should be paying these guys.
They are absolutely getting away with free labor. They also own the image rights to these young women and are taking advantage of that. Just like football players, like who are in college, they don't get to own their own image rights. So, like those EA sports games or whatever, like they make a ton of money off these kids' images and they don't pay them.
This brings new meaning
what's
to
happening
us.
Here.
When we call Luna the momager, I'm suddenly realizing that she is an exploitative momager, and that is not cool.
She's the Kris Kardashian. Oh, wow. I don't watch that show. I just know that she's a momager.
Okay, I was like, I understood that reference, but like with the C Roger face,
right?
So,
okay, well,
next week we will be watching episode 18/22, which is Worth a Princess's Ransom for the dub, which will be me, and Romance Under the Moon, Usagi's First Kiss for you. And I'm pretty excited about this. I'm wondering, so I know there's an episode where there's like literally a princess with like a crystal that the people are trying to steal because they think it's a silver moon crystal, and the princess has like glasses, but when her glasses gets knocked off, she's very pretty. But obviously you aren't pretty when you have glasses on.
Right.
And I'm wondering if this is going to be the episode or not. Because I've been waiting for that episode just because it, for some reason, stuck in my brain really hard.
Yeah, because glasses are ugly.
Yeah, I think that might have been part of why it stuck in my brain. Fucking glasses.
Yeah. Do we think, should we take bets on whether Usagi's First Kiss is with Andrew or Tuxedo Mask?
It's going to be Tuxedo Mask. But that's my bet. I guess that's my bet. How about you?
Tuxedo Mask.
I don't feel like this is the type of show that believes that you can love more than one person sincerely. They aren't open for the polycule. They aren't open for the multiple loves in your lifetime. These people have a fated love, and that's what it's going to be. Although I guess they did let Darian go on a date with Ray. So Darian and Ray have gone on at least 2 dates. So I could be wrong.
Well, and later on when Darian goes to college, she and Seiya have a thing.
Isn't he already in college? Depending on what version of canon you're looking at.
Yeah, I don't know.
It depends on canon. So in some canon, he's younger. Some he's older.
He goes off somewhere, I guess. Yeah. Oh, well.
Zilly.
So that's what's happening next week. Yeah, I guess he does because then the Starfighters come in.
Oh my god. Yeah. They also have that big crush on
which I've never seen.
Sailor Uranus, which I'm excited about. I love that girl.
Yeah. She has a crush on Sailor Uranus?
Mm-hmm. I'm sure they play it down in the dub, so that'll be fun.
Yeah. Because I've never gotten to see those episodes, so I'm very excited for them.
But I am
we
too.
haven't even gotten to Jupiter yet.
Yeah, those were harder and harder to get a hold of back when you didn't have internet. All right. Well, something to look forward to. So we will see you all next week. In the meantime, please take care of yourselves and prepare yourselves for more therapy.
Prepare.
Pinky promise that you won't open the box until next week. We're all going to do it together. This is how teamwork works, and we promise not to ruin your dreams.
Yes, we promise. Pinky swear.